What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jimmy James 59, and we have another build order video that we're going to be looking at here. Today we're going to be looking at 20 population men-at-arms with the Mongols specifically. So should be a good video. I would always say from the beginning, if you like this kind of content, you want to follow and subscribe, we got a lot more build order videos coming. And today, I gotta say, in the Arabia meta, men-at-arms rushing is really common, and with some civs, you can actually get some really nice uptimes. And at the mid-elo level, getting a fast uptime to take the initiative away from your opponent, that can win you some games right there. So it's important to go ahead and look at it. I'm going to put the build up here on the screen. If you want to pause this video, take a look at it, write it down, all of that, you can do so now. But otherwise, we're going to move it from the screen so we don't have too much clutter. And I'm going to be narrating through this build anyways. It's actually not that complicated of a build order. So it probably doesn't require a lot of modification from what you typically do. It is a little bit different than the standard 22 pop men-at-arms build order. And so I'll talk about a little bit why that is and how you can make this work for you. And I will take you through the whole game because, you know, one of the things with these civilization-specific build orders is, you know, you want to understand with the civilization, you're going to have different options in different ages. And so you want to see how that might play out. And so, you know, with these build orders, it's a good thing to actually go through the game. And all of these games that I do in these build order videos, they are games that are played on the ranked ladder. This is a game that was played at a 1300 level. So, you know, that's kind of the skill level we're looking at. It's not going to be a perfect game by either player, but, you know, you still should see some good quality level of gameplay. So let's go ahead, let's get into it and move on. Okay, so, you know, like I said, this build order is pretty standard, so we will do sort of a normal cast here, and the first 6 villagers are going to go to sheep, per usual. And I gotta say, I do like this base quite a bit. You know, looking at the map, nice gold here, nice berries here. You know, this wood line is okay, I think. I like that it's a bit thicker right here in the back, and you know, it could possibly be under some pressure given where our opponent is. Obviously, we don't know that now, but you know, at the same time, you could relocate a lumber camp to the back there, and it would probably be distant enough from any ranged units. Now, right, we're playing as the Mongols. Our opponent in the red playing as the Huns, right? So we have a clash of the titans, of the steppe titans, if you will, here. And, you know, he's got an okay base. I like the backwood lines. I like the back berries. This main gold on the hill is pretty troublesome. There's a gold here that could be taken, and he's got another gold out here, so I don't like the gold positions. The stone position's okay. It's just a bit far from his base. So, all in all, I think in terms of setting things up, you know, even though maps don't necessarily win you games, they can make life a little bit more difficult for you. Okay, so now returning to the build, right? We have our 6 on sheep here, and we're going to go ahead and put 4 on wood. This is exactly what you would do in a standard men-at-arms build. Nothing that abnormal happening yet. We have 4 there. What I like to do, send the next villager, right? Go out, get the boar or the rhinoceros in this case, right? And then the next villager, as we're going to kill this boar with the TC, you know, just normal mid-elo gameplay stuff. And then, right, with this, I guess it's the 12th villager, we're at population 13 of 15. We're going to go ahead and get our house down. We're going to then put 4 on berries. So again, right, very standard, right? This villager here is going to go to berries. And I'm also luring in a deer. Mid-elo level of gameplay, luring deer to the town center, at least 1, is actually pretty common. You know, it's not always done with, let's say, perfect efficiency, but it is something that's done at a pretty common level. So, you know, this is something that we do see, and we do have, right, we are getting 4 on berries. Well, excuse me, we have 3 on berries here. This villager is just going to go out and get this boar. Why? Because we're Huns, right? This is why, right? We're Huns, and so we're going to churn through the meat on this boar pretty darn fast. As you can see, the meat on the boar is, there is still some left, right? And we're going to try and get that, right? So again, not a perfect build. We are letting some meat decay here, right? A little bit. And we're going to go ahead, take that, and you know, keep that build going. So we did lure an ostrich, right, or a zebra or whatever it was to the town center. So we have a little bit of extra food, but all in all, it's not bad. Right? Meanwhile, taking a look at the opponent, right, we have it done there, and again for this build, right, really what you're doing is once you are getting the 4 on wood, 4 on berries, send everything else to food until the last villager, right? So here's where the build gets a little different, right? The last villager, it gets you on population 20 of 20, right? So you're housed, right? You want that last villager to get the barracks up. Then you want to send 2 villagers from, right, your sheep to make a house, and they're also going to build a mining camp, right? And so this is keeping you from getting housed so you can actually make men-at-arms here, right? And so you can see we have the house there, and we have a good bit of food here, and then we're going to have some, you know, gold here later, and boom, the men-at-arms are being created. And with this build, we are going to create 3 militia, which we'll be upgrading into men-at-arms, right? Now, you do want to get to 5 on this lumber camp, and I like to send 3 villagers to straggler trees for a bit to get the wood to make another lumber camp. Some people might play these more aggressive builds on 1 lumber camp. I do think that's doable. That would save you some wood, and you can maybe keep more villagers to collect food. But I think if you can go for the 2 lumber camps and get a little bit more of that high eco approach, I think it's really worth doing. And so I go ahead and do it. You notice in this build, right, we had about 6 seconds of idle TC time. That's not very much. Usually when it comes to idle TC time, you know, as long as I have less than 25 seconds, I feel okay about it, because in 25 seconds you could have made another villager. But really, I think you want to get this down to something below 10 seconds or so. Now, right, we get up to the next stage. We have enough resources to get the men-at-arms upgrade, and our militia are basically right here, right on time. So doing the build this way didn't cause us to be any slower of getting to our opponent, didn't mess up our timing. Boom, we're right at their base when the upgrade hits, and, you know, we can start doing damage and putting some pressure on, right? Again, taking a look at what we've got going on here, we're able to get double bit axe, right? So we're able to get our wood upgrade here. 1 second of idle time right there as we're getting to another villager. So basically, right, with this build, you can go 20 pop with Mongols and get men-at-arms. It's not going to slow down you getting to your opponent's base, and you should be able to get the wood upgrade. And having that wood is very, very important. And we're going to go ahead and start trying to put pressure on here. You can already see, right, we haven't killed a villager yet, but we forced pressure that has generated an archery range from our opponent, right? They're not on food yet, right? They're still working on the berries. Now, right, given that they're going scouts, right, what I do, create a spearman. We'll zoom in a little bit more on this fight, take it not so at the high level. And you can see adding that spearman in, sending it forward, was really major here. We didn't even have some of the men-at-arms in on that fight, and we already took the scouts. Again, why send the spear forward almost immediately? The idea here is to keep that initiative, right? We recognize this weak part in our opponent's base, that he has this main gold that he's taking forward, right? So we want to keep the pressure on. Now, meanwhile, if we take a look at my base, we're going to go 1-range archers, and we do want to get fletching basically as quickly as possible. For this reason, we do have our blacksmith up, and the idea here is to use this pressure so that we can wall it home and be safe, right? So that's the basic idea. Now our opponent is making the counter unit to archers, right? Very smartly. We're going to try and keep him at bay a little bit with this men-at-arms. See if we can take some units out. And we're just going to run away with these archers. Again, as we lose one there, again, mid-elo gameplay, sometimes it gets kind of sloppy. You know, we're really just trying to use this army to keep our opponent from arriving at our base, right? That's what we want to do here. And we've forced our opponent to invest in, you know, quite a bit of military that they didn't probably want to invest in, right? The wood for the archery range, the blacksmith, and it's interesting that they've gone fully away from scouts. It might have been an interesting play to add in some scouts, but again, we could just add another spearman to hang out with our archer army, so that might not be the best long-term answer. Now, we have 4 archers and we're going forward. Why? That's okay, right? We're just really trying to harass, and what I want to do, since we're not walled up exactly yet at home, I just want to keep his army at home and not going forward. And you can see, right, coming in, we actually get a villager kill out of it because of this forward wood line. So we get that villager down on a bit HP. Don't quite get it though. Right? And what do? We do lose an archer here, right? Again, some sloppy gameplay. But hey, we get our vill kill and let's peace out, right? We're gone. We know where this army is. We know it's at home. Kind of micro back in, right? A bit of a miss micro there, but you know, ultimately we're really just buying time so we can get walled up here. So, right? So we go in the game and let's see what's going on here, right? So if we're back home, right, we're gonna get these walls up. These walls should go up, so we're gonna be safe. So there's really no reason at this point, given how many skirmishers he has on the field, there's no reason really to go 2 ranges here for what I feel like. We've seen a lot of skirms, and this is really more of a reconnaissance party, right? Sending these guys out really just to see where his army is, and we do have a hill here that we can try to control. Again, right? Really nice micro from him actually taking that villager, and assuming he's taking that archer, and we're just going to run back, right? Because we know now he has a lot of forces, right? We click on them, we can see that he has fletching. Right, we don't have the second armor upgrade. Given how many skirmishers are there and how many archers are there, we really don't want any part of that, so we're just going to run away. So let's just run away, right? And maybe we even, right, come back down this way, right? Come back down this way, see if we can pick off any reinforcements, right? If he keeps his army up here, right, again, he's not going to find much of an entrance. He doesn't have that many, he does not have that many archers in there to take down walls. And hey, here we have an army, right? We should be able to get some decent value of, right? So this is kind of a tactical decision that we're just, hey, you know, we lose some archers, but we took some archers. We just go ahead and make that trade, even though you can see the kill-death ratio is in favor of our opponent, but we have 3 eco kills, and we're up by 3 villagers, and guess what? Now we're up to Castle Age, right? Because we're not investing. Our opponent, right, is far from getting up, right? He does have some troops there, but hey, we're walled up. So what do we want to do from here, right? Well, what we want to do from here, given how many skirmishers are on the field, you're playing as Mongols. Mongols get fully upgraded Castle Age Knights, right? This is not a bad play. Huns do not get camels, so we don't have to worry about our opponent doing some kind of camel switch, and this is actually kind of a nice play that we're going to go into, and despite our opponent doing some damage to this wall, we're just going to go ahead, play it really, really safe, right? House wall behind this so that we know this army is not going to get in and disrupt our economy. Now, meanwhile, right, our opponent, and take a look, right, you know, we do see here that, you know, we do have a little bit of a lead in villager count. Our TC is, you know, our opponent's catching up a little bit just because we're researching the Castle Age, but we're very, very behind in army numbers, right? Our opponent is still making military and is hanging out outside of the base, right? And, you know, is probably going to have a difficult time getting in, right? Keeping 1 skirmisher in the range, he might think that there's more archers in there than he realizes. And I think he's just going to go turn around and go home, probably. It does seem to be what he's doing because he doesn't want to get caught out, say, potentially by crossbows. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, we're going to get the second armor upgrade because we're playing against Huns, right? If we've clicked on his units, we can see that he's gotten armor. So he's probably thinking about going into archers on a more long-term basis. So we're going to want to make sure these Castle Age Knights we're making are going to have some survivability. And now we're just getting our eco upgrades, getting the second wood, making sure we're getting horse collar, getting the gold mining upgrade. And we're going to go forward and see what we can do, right? Because again, if you take a look at the military count, right, we don't have very much military, even though we are well protected, but hopefully we'll be able to get out a more population efficient military with the pressure that we put on and our uptime to Castle Age. Now we can see that the opponent is up to Castle Age, and we're going to send these knights forward just to see what he has, right? Going to go and investigate a little bit, and this is a very big mass. It's a lot of skirms, but it's actually also a lot of archers too. We're going to go ahead and really get out of dodge. But again, right? So this is the thing. He's got a big military. And what I really don't want doing, because again, I don't know if he's close to Castle Age or not. And so what I don't want him doing is bringing this army forward because I don't have a lot of military yet. I want him to stay at home. And so these knights are acting as, they're kind of on guard duty here, right? Because I know that there's this pathway to get to my base, and he could go around this area, but what I'm going to do here is try to keep the pressure on, not lose too many knights, right? I want to draw him back, right? And, I'll tell you what, archers are really, really inaccurate versus mobile units before they get ballistics. That's something to keep in mind. And so we do have one knight that is on 2 HP. I can't imagine that he's for long in this world, and he sacrifices himself for the cause. Okay, so let's pause here, right? So this army mass is still the same, right? We're talking about like a 28 to, it looks like we have, if we try and click on these guys, right? We have 7 knights here. Now, you're going to see me take this fight, and I'm going to tell you why I'm taking the fight. Because he just hit Castle Age, right? I'm thinking about these archers as future crossbowmen, right? What I want to do is I want to keep that mass from getting too high. He's going to have crossbowmen in about 30 seconds. I know this. So what I want to do, I have +2 armor. I just want to go ahead, take this fight, get as many kills as I can to see if we can get those numbers down a little bit, so that way that army is going to lose some of its mass, because with archers, it's all about having a big mass of them, right? So let's see how this fight turns out. Okay, so we're going forward, right? We're not scared of the town center, even though our knights are going to take some damage, right? And we're taking this fight, we're going in, we're getting some kills, right? We're doing what we can here, right? And we've whittled this down. Now we're down to 13. Okay. Now they're crossbowmen. We have 12 crossbowmen on the field, and now we run away. We run away, and hey, we're going to get another villager kill, right? So in that exchange, yeah, right, we had 7 knights. Now we have 5. So we exchanged 2 knights to get rid of quite a few skirmishers, right? 6 crossbowmen, because we got them before they became crossbowmen, and a villager, right? That's not a bad trade, and we're still massing knights at home. We're still being protected. And now he has less of an army to come forward with, right? As this knight is going to take it on the chin here, wanting to put that forward siege workshop down, right? I want to get some forward siege going, but can't really get there. And, well, now looking at this, right? We have this hill. He takes this engagement. We want to go in. 12 crossbow, right? We have a very good number of knights. If we can ever click on them. I like this trade, right? I really like this trade, and we're going to whittle this army number down, chasing him across, and, we're basically what we're doing here is we're getting some kills, we're shrinking the size of his army, and, well, we're buying our villagers time here to get the siege workshop up. And we've also learned some really valuable information. We've learned that our opponent wants to go on cavalry archers, right? This is what we know. Now, that's probably a really good decision from him. Hunt and cav archers are cheaper, and cav archers in enough mass can be a very effective unit to hit and run against knights, right? Now, this is why we have the Siege Workshop, because in thinking about what we can do against cavalry archers, we have a couple options here. We can go skirmishers, right, and get elite skirmisher and bodkin arrow and go through all of that technology because they do counter archer units. But that feels like a lot of investment, and we're not really set up for it. So, right, we're going to go into Siege, and you're going to see me make Scorpions, because Scorpions actually do quite a bit of damage to cavalry archers, and so we're going to use that as basically our range and melee composition as we play in Castle Age. And really what I'm trying to do here is just keep this pressure on and keep this cav archer mass from getting too large, taking villager kills where we can. And again, our opponent probably should have relocated his villagers to a different gold. He didn't really do that. He really tried to take this gold and stay there. I think that was something of a misplay from him, just because with the knights, right, with the cav archers, he always has to hit and run downhill. And downhill, he's not going to be doing as much damage. And we're going to send this villager here forward, right, who is really going to be here just in case, right, we need to repair any of these scorpions, because we're trying to take control of this game, right? You always want to take a moment, look over to the score. The score doesn't tell you everything necessarily, and a lot of times you can feel by the flow of a game what's going on, as we're actually going for a third town center, right? We have a town center in the back of the base that controls a secondary gold, so that way we have gold to make knights, but also make scorpions, right? We really want to get those scorpions out so they can do damage against the cavalry archers, and sending one forward right here. Probably a little early, but hey, we do kill a cavalry archer with it. As we see some fancy footwork. I like it, as this villager decides he wants to get in on the action here. Probably going to lose his life. Can't imagine that he survives that round. Oh, yep. He's dead right there. But now with the scorpions, we're taking the hill. Again, the cav archers are not going to do the kind of damage they otherwise would, even though they do take that one out, right? But hey, we exchange a cav archer for it, right? They're, a similar wood gold cost anyways, and we have another scorpion, right? That's going to take this hill. We do have a repair villager here, right? She's going to be helping us out if we, when we need repairs, and I'm sure we will. And at this point, right, we're controlling the hill. We're controlling the game. We have two scorpions here. Watch how well they deal with cavalry archers. I mean, man, the cav archers just go down like crazy, and GG, right? That ends the game, right? So, this was, as we can see, right, this build order really did a lot for us, where we were really able to take control from the beginning. If we take a look for the statistics, I always forget to look over these statistics, and, we had a nice unit KD. We were able to keep our economy safe, really get our resources going. You see this feudal age time, pretty good, right? And, 7 minutes of idle time, 6 to 7 seconds. It's not 7 minutes of idle time. That'd be crazy. 6 to 7 seconds of idle time in feudal age, still pretty good. And, we did a nice job there. And we were able to use that initiative to get a nice villager lead, to get the kind of military that we could fight with in Castle Age. So even though he was going for cav archers, which if he could get the mass up, would really be a nice way to deal with knights, right? We had the economy that way to support some siege and to keep him pushed back. And really, this was one of these games that it's kind of a combination of playing with initiative, but then using that initiative actually to play positionally, right? And so sometimes you hear people talk about playing, perhaps, opportunistically, right? And creating windows where you can have power spikes, where you can do a lot of damage against your opponent, right? That's not as much how this game played out, even though we got to an earlier time than our opponent, both, not that much in feudal age, but we had the initiative, right? But even getting up to Castle Age earlier, right? It wasn't something that allowed us to take an opportunity necessarily to kill a lot of units. In fact, we really only engaged in a fight when our opponent got to Castle Age, and we used that small window of time to whittle those forces down and basically could get the best trade with our knights that we could, right? This very much turned into a positional gameplay that was all about controlling this hill, right? All has a nice little sound there, right? It was all about controlling this hill, and so we just used the unit composition and the advantage to make sure that he couldn't control it, and eventually, with the siege there was just no way he was going to be able to take that fight, and he just fell a bit too far behind. Now, I gotta say, GG to my opponent here, right? I mean, again, losing is something that we all do in Age of Empires. Anybody who's been playing this game long enough knows not to take a loss too seriously, or hopefully knows not to take a loss too seriously, and not also, think that they're the king of the world because they won a game, right? We're trying to figure out what went right and what went wrong. And what I'm hoping in this video that shows you is that this Mongol 20 pop build order gives you the economy to do the kind of things from the early game, getting men-at-arms, getting your men-at-arms to your opponent's base at a good on a good schedule, and also being able to get the double bit axe so your lumberjacks work faster, and that way that can help fuel the Castle Age part of your army, where you have the wood to seed farms, to get a siege workshop up, and have town centers and that sort of thing, and get your eco upgrades. And so with the Mongols, you have a really diverse army composition. We could have played camels with this. Now, the problem with, say, going camels in this scenario is that we wouldn't have been able to deal very well with the crossbows and take that fight underneath the town center, because camels have such small pierce armor. So I think that going camels in this position with the Mongols would have been a mistake, and we didn't really have the information at that point to know whether our Hun player was actually going to go to cavalry archers, or might have wanted to, say, stay on crossbows for a little while they prepared a knight transition, right? So we didn't have that information yet. Alternatively, right, we could have gone cavalry archers of our own. Our cavalry archers would have fired faster. That definitely could have been a play, right? We didn't go that route, right? We went the knight route and decided to make our ranged unit scorpions. But cavalry archers could have been a play. The reason I didn't like to do that for this game is because, if you recall, our opponent had a lot of skirmishers out in the field. He could have easily just upgraded those, and now we're hitting and running. And again, what can't we do, right? If we're hitting and running, we can't play positionally, right? So this was a game because of this awkward gold, and you might say even our opponent's insistence on taking it and not really going out to this gold much further away, really perhaps caused some issues there. So maybe going out to another gold could have been an issue, though we did have knights, and we probably could have been able to find it and raid it. And so this hill really just decided the game. And so with that, thinking about this, right, from a strategic, from an operational, from a tactical perspective, that's what enabled us to win this game. And I hope this build order helps you. I hope you learned something from this video. And with that, I'll leave you here, and I'll see you out there on the ladder.